What you are about to hear is highly classified. In episode number 153 of Zone 4, it's Marvel Mania. The crew returns to talk about several Marvel topics, from the Ghost Rider court case to the movie trailers for Avengers and Spider-Man, and much more, including titles we've read. But first, we cover some headlines like the Static Shock dilemma, Smallville returning as a webcomic, and much more. Don't forget to check out the weekly Zone 4 webcomic at zone4podcast.com/webcomic, updating every Monday. Check it out, it's a lot of fun. We also give more shout-outs to our faithful Zone 4 Legionnaires. Like us on facebook.com/Zone4podcast, and eventually you'll get a shout-out on the show. Our reserve this week is our resident Marvel maven, Bill Gladman of Twilight Star Studios. He joins us to talk about all the Marvel topics and more. If you'd like to sponsor an episode of Zone 4, contact us at zone4@comicrelated.com. You can find a link to our sponsorship package, both here in the trailer and in the show notes for this week's episode. And, anything you want to promote, anything you have to talk about, you can do so through the show. You can do so very easily for very reasonable rates, so just contact us and we'll work it out. And now, here's a clip from this week's episode, Zone 4 number 153. Be back with you in a minute.
A very well-respected and appreciated comic book writer is right now, this very minute, as we're sitting here talking, getting the shaft from Marvel. And I'm, of course, talking about writer Gary Friedrich, who created Ghost Rider. And this past week had a court of law actually say that he can no longer do Ghost Rider sketches or sell Ghost Rider paraphernalia or items at conventions, and he needs to pay Marvel, a billionaire outfit owned by the Disney company, $17,000. Want to talk about a miscarriage of justice? Have at it, guys.
Oh, you don't want me to start talking about this.
No.
It's bad enough that he can't claim ownership. That he can't claim that he created Ghost Rider. The real insult is that Marvel wants him to pay I think it's like $17,000 in lost revenue, and this is a guy who is, oh God, now I'm starting to sound like Chuck Kennedy. And what really makes me angry is that there are fans who say things like, he should have known better, or he should have had a lawyer. And it's like, you know what? Why don't you read some fracking history, okay? The comics industry back then is not like the comics industry now. And how dare you defend a company that, may have a right to protect its copyrights, but this wasn't just, hey, don't do that. This was, we're going to strip you of your livelihood, and then we're going to screw you over, and you're not even going to get kissed. And when I read stuff like that by so-called comics fans, I just want to go out and I want to punch each and every one of them in the face.
Wow.
Gordon, you're my kind of guy, and that whole situation this week so got under my skin that I sat down earlier in the week, and I know a couple of you see it. I wrote my own little comic book manifesto finally, and put it up on Facebook and Comic Related. And it's basically, I'm sick to death of big corporations stomping on comic creators. We're living in an age now where all of us should know better. The age you talked about was a whole different experience. These guys are trying to eke out a living and had no other choice. But now we're living in an age of self-publishing, of the internet and whatever. And believe me, okay, the word has to get out to young comic creators and writers and artists. All right, stop working for these asshole companies. Okay, let them do their own characters, create your own, and don't give them away. Keep them for yourself. All right, I mean, enough is enough.
Right, and for those of you who are even curious as to how evil this kind of practices have been and how long they've been happening, I encourage everyone to read a book by Gerard Jones called Men of Tomorrow, where it talks about how Siegel and Schuster. This was a few years after Superman became a hit. they were in tough financial straits. And essentially, the people who ran National Periodical Publications, which was what DC was called back then, I think in the 40s, basically said, okay, we'll give you X $100 for your rights, but you can never claim to have created Superman. You have no right on that. And there are fans who now will say, because of the whole Siegel lawsuit, that they're being greedy. No, they're not being greedy. They're getting their fair share. How dare you? You know, it's like I wish that these fans would have their mouths surgically removed from the collective asses of DC and Marvel. And I can't believe I just said that out loud.
I think you're you're tapping your inner Frank. Settle down, Gordon. Now, I actually had a real good conversation a few years ago with Lynn Wine, and he told me, and this a bit of information just shocked the hell out of me. He told me that he'd made more money royalty-wise, and it wasn't a monumental amount of money, but he made more money in his entire life as a creator from creating Lucius Fox for DC than he made for creating Wolverine. And I was like, are you kidding me? That just makes no sense to me whatsoever. I mean, here's the guy that created one of the most popular characters of Marvel's icon. I mean, a collection of characters, and to this day, he's probably received nothing from the films. Going back to one of our previous topics, Wolverine's getting ready to do a second sequel of just the character itself. The cartoons, the toys, he's probably seen none of that, and that's really a shame. And I know, talking to Claremont, he was bent out of shape about the lack of money he got from the X-Men films, which was based heavily on the stories that he wrote. And I can understand these creators. I mean, once again, they probably don't think about that, especially in the 70s when these characters are being created. They don't think about, they're just making a living. They never thought, comics would be successful. They never thought that these characters, hell, I never thought I would see Ghost Rider in a movie, let alone two.
All images, copyright, and trademark their respective owners. And if you liked what you heard, you can hear the full episode tomorrow, Friday, February 17th, on comicrelated.com, of course, via zone4podcast.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, and all the usual channels. Just check us out. All those links are on our website, zone4podcast.com, where you can find the entire archive of our show there. So check that out. And as always, thanks for listening.